everyone. Hello, viewers. We have a very beautiful, very good client here today. Her name is Jennifer.
Yeah,
Jenny
Jen.
for short. We all know Jenny for short. So, Jenny, how are you doing today?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very well as well. Good to see you. It's been a very long time. It's a very, very long time.
Like two
Good to
years.
see you. Yeah. So, Jenny, which country are am I talking to you from?
So I'm,
Which country are you talking to me from instead?
I'm in Canada currently.
Okay, so Jenny is in Canada and she's talking to me from Canada. So, um, now, how is the weather in Canada and how is everything in Canada?
Well, so far we're in the summer and it's getting closer to the fall, so it's getting much cooler
Hmm.
than weather.
Hmm.
But um, I'm pretty sure in about 2 weeks it's going to become fall, very like proper fall. Right now we're
Yeah.
still sun, but then we're having a bit of rain now.
Yeah.
But pretty cool weather before it gets very cold again.
Okay, because I was going to say, Jenny, that I learned Canada is very, very cold. Is that true?
Extremely cold, and it's colder in the north where I am. So, yeah.
Oh. Okay, so how are you guys managing then? How are you guys coping?
I mean, if you wear what is necessary for the weather, you will survive. And we
Yeah.
have in-home heaters. So, I mean, when
Yeah.
you're in the house, you don't have a problem, but when you're outside, that's where the problem is. Because sometimes even with your coats, with your boots, you're still cold because I mean, it's
Yeah.
like minus freezer temperature. So it's bound to be that.
Yeah.
But once you're inside the house, the in-home heater, perfect for you. No problem.
Okay, so sorry for digressing a bit. So how are you people able to go to classes? Like, are you people able to go to classes in this type of weather?
Of course, why not? You have to go to
Yeah.
classes. Some of our classes, like for my school, we have
Mm.
hybrid courses kind of. You can do them online and then you can do them in person. Although last year Canada made like a law that you have to attend at least 50% of your classes in person. So in a case where you're taking maybe a class online and you're not very much good with the cold weather, you don't like it, you can save up maybe your online classes for that time and you can take maybe mostly online courses in the winter, and then during the summer and fall semester you can now take your in-person classes. That is for my school, but I know other
Yeah.
schools do in-person classes and you have to go because you have to make the attendance.
Oh, that's good. Are you currently still in school?
Yeah,
Or what are you currently doing in Canada?
I'm still a student, studying Masters of Business.
Okay. Like I said earlier, to my viewers, I've said earlier that people that I bring on this life, they are big people, like they are millionaires. So you are seeing one of the youngest millionaire in Nigeria sitting in front of me here.
In person.
So, so that is it. So now, Jenny,
Yeah,
when did you access your service from us? Which year was that? From
that
K
was
Global Council,
that was in 2022. Yeah,
2022.
yeah.
Okay, so now before we come back to Care Global again, what is that one thing that you love about Canada? Will you say you love their weather? Because I don't know whether there's anybody that love cold weather, but then what is that one good thing that you love about Canada where you are?
Well, in terms of the weather, funny enough, I actually like the cold.
Really?
Um, However, when something is extreme, you cannot like it. I mean, towards like fall, it's still very nice. Although it's cold, it's still very good. But then I mean, even the summer to get really like this year's summer is very very hot. It's like Nigerian kind of hot. We are getting up to 30 something degrees in some places, 40 something degrees, which is pretty hot. So sometimes the shock from, like the cold to the hot weather, it's kind of, I kind of like it sometimes, but then um that's just the weather. What I like here is the availability of resources for people. I mean, in terms of
Yeah.
students, school, we have access to resources. In terms of daily living, you have access to food in Canada. If you're in Canada, food is hardly ever your problem. You are mostly faced with bills rather than trivial things like that. I just like the
Yeah.
availability. It's the fact that you can look for things and get them. That's very good.
Availability of everything. She's talking about. She just talked about availability of everything. Okay, so now, which country are you from, Jennifer?
From Nigeria.
Okay, she's from Nigeria. So I'm definitely sure that a lot of people will be happy to see such a pretty girl from Nigeria. I think somebody give you even a thumbs up.
I'm
So, which part of which, which part of Nigeria are you from?
from Imo State, Nigeria.
Sorry,
I'm from Imo State, Nigeria. Imo State. I
Imo
am.
State. So, yeah. Oh, Imo State. So she's an Igbo lady. So a pretty one at that. So now let's go to the next other let's go to the other things.
Okay.
Now, if you have to say anything about Nigeria, what you love about Nigeria, what would that be? What is it that you love about your country, Nigeria?
Well, in comparison, if I'm going to say something, in comparison to here, one thing I like about Nigeria is we have a system where people are together. You can reach out to people, friends, and family, and not feel
Mm,
alone. You're not feeling alone really when you're in Nigeria. But here, everybody minds their business. So it's not so good sometimes because sometimes you just need somebody to reach out to or someone to talk to, and you find out that you're just on your own in your space, and a lot of times people are struggling and they're just by themselves. It's very hard sometimes, whereas back home you have love, you have people around you and people that want to help you willingly. Here people want to help you, but they are mostly like afraid of consequences. You can't really,
mm,
sometimes you try to help people and it backfires on you, so people are very
yeah,
that. So
careful.
yeah, that's one thing that I know that is not the best,
Mm,
honestly. Can be
yeah.
very
Because those places they have laws, they have rules,
that.
that and then that once you're breaking a rule, you can be in for it. So unlike here, in our country, there's freedom to a very large extent, in Nigeria. You can do things and go away with it, you
Exactly,
know.
I don't want to
So yeah,
hear.
go ahead.
I say you really don't want to get in trouble here because once it gets on your record, it's
Yeah.
likely never to go out of your record. So you want to stay,
Mm,
even as little as breaking a driving law and being by police, or even driving without the license, things like that we take for granted in Nigeria. When you do that here, and
mm,
you can be banned from driving, things like that, and it enters your record. When it
mm,
gets record, it's already looking bad for you. The more record you have, the more disadvantaged you are. Negative record like that. So yeah.
yeah. Jenny, this driving that you talked about, do you guys also still go for
Hello? Hello?
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I said you just talked about driving and all of that. So I said this driving that you talk about, do you
Oh,
test there in Canada?
oh,
Like
so usually you have to go through like I call it like two main steps. Other ones are additions, right? So the first license you get here for driving is your G1, which is just your basic knowledge of the road test. Sorry, the road signs and um road etiquette basically. So that is the first thing you take. Then, depending on what country you have, your driving history is called the driving abstract. You're permitted to bring it from your country depending on how long you've been driving. So you're in a better position if you've been driving for, let's say, what, 4 5 years or even 3 years. You're in a better position to easily switch to the next license, which is G2, provided they have your and they can verify your abstract or your driving history. So if they can verify it,
mm,
then you are allowed to go and take the G2. However, if you fail the G2, you go back and retake it, and you are likely to pay again. Yeah.
yeah. So that's good for people like you then. So meaning you can get your driver's license easily there.
No, trust
Kind
me.
of.
All my driver's licenses, both the written one and the road one, even though I've been driving for over 4 years in Nigeria, it was horrible. I
Mm,
failed I failed them like terrible, and I was so sad because I wasted a lot of money. But then it's good. The good thing about driving here is that you get a lot of you have advantages for jobs. Depending on if you have
yeah.
A G2 license, you can drive anywhere in in the in the communities. You can drive on the highway. However, the G class license is mostly for those who want to do like highway driving, especially like truck driving and some kind of delivery driving. So if you have the G, you have a better chance with job in Canada. But then we still have other licenses like B class, all those ones. But however, the one that you should be aiming for
Mm,
as somebody else, an international student, is your G1, your G2, or your G.
mm. Okay, so now let's go back to are you still talking, Jenny? Should I go to the next question? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I think it's network. So can you hear me now? Okay. Okay, you can't hear me. I can't also hear you. I don't know. Can you can you double touch on your speaker? Maybe double touch on your speaker and then put it on again. We lost her there, so we hope to have her back soon. Let's give it a minute, and then hopefully we have her back soon. Let's just give her a minute, some few minutes to get her maybe her device working again. So hopefully she should join back soon. Definitely, I know that they have a very good network from their own end. So there might be some technical issues that she's struggling with. So hopefully okay, oh, Nigeria factor. All right,
Is
Jenny.
it better now?
I'm sure you're yes, I'm here. I'm sure you're not surprised to see me like this. So this is Nigeria stuff. So we're putting on our source of light shortly. While I still go ahead to speak to Jenny. So our light will be back on shortly. So Jenny, I think where were we before I
Yeah,
lost you?
driver's license.
Yes.
Yes.
So uh, okay, so and then I was actually saying that your own, it shouldn't be difficult for you to have your own driver's license since you've been driving for a very long time in Nigeria. But then
No,
unfortunately, you said, yeah,
no,
go
but
ahead.
funny enough, you actually still need to practice very well when you get here because sadly we don't have a lot of road signs, so things like that will definitely confuse you. And with Canada and where I am, there's always the speed limits varying on different parts of the road. So if you know, sometimes in Nigeria you can be driving like 60, 70 in a residential area or where there is school.
Mm,
It is not possible here. When you get to a school area, which is usually sometimes in residential areas,
yeah,
you have to drive like 30 kilometer an hour because you have a lot of school students maybe crossing the road, leaving the bus. That's if they are closing school, or even going to school early in the morning, which can be crazy when everyone is going to work and everything. But those
mm,
kind of, if you're not conversant with them and you come here and you just take the test, you are likely to go back and retake it because you need
yeah,
to. And the way the road is also structured here is very different. So you have to be
yeah,
fast before you take your exam, which is why when you have the G1, you can get like an either an instructor or you get like a friend to who has been driving like here to make you conversant with the roads, the signs, how you're supposed to drive on the road. When you have done that and you keep practicing, because here I know one thing that kept making me to fail my test was like the first. I'm sorry, I failed my G2 only once, but I failed my G1 like 4 times in the same day. So for the G2 now, what gave me problem was my blind spots, which we don't usually do in Nigeria. We don't do blind
mm,
spots, but it's very important here. And honestly, after driving for a while, I know why you have to check your blind spots because sometimes you're driving, right, and your mirror, your side mirrors can't really detect who is like almost at the tail of your vehicle. So things like
yeah,
that you have to just abide by their laws. But don't take it for granted that you know how to drive because trust me, you will be shocked when you come here. A lot of people have failed their G2. But then the good thing is some people have actually gotten to G because if you've been driving for long, when you bring your abstract, you don't need to take your G2. You just do the G.
mm,
So if
mm,
if you've been practicing when you came here, like driving around and everything, and you go and take your G and you pass it, better for you. You don't even have to. That's the purpose of your abstract, and
mm,
it's like highway driving, so it's perfect for you. People have come and they've gotten their G and they didn't have to do their G2. But then if you fail your G test, you go back and do your G2. So yeah.
Hmm. Okay, so like now, if you have any of the license and maybe you break any of the rules, maybe mistakenly or whatever, so will they seize your license from you? Do you have to go and retake?
Well, it depends, and that's why you
Okay.
see that you take your G1. You take your G1 because you need to know the rules. Part of your G1
Hmm.
is the rules of the road and
Hmm.
penalizations. I don't know if that's right. That's the correct
Hmm.
word.
Penalty.
And
Hmm.
what is you get for breaking what rule? For example, the only thing that is majorly different between someone who has a G and a G2, your
Hmm.
alcohol content while you're driving. So you're allowed to have a certain amount of alcohol in your system while you're driving if you're a G holder. But if you're a G2 holder, you cannot have that. So in a case where that is the situation, you will have a penalty for having over the limit of alcohol, maybe the same limit that a G will have. You as a G2 driver are having it. If you have that same limit, you get a penalty. It may I'm not sure about what exactly the penalty for the drinking is, but you may or may not cost you a fine. It could sometimes your penalties could span from a fine to bad driving record to them seizing your license. So I think the alcohol one is them seizing your license as a G2 driver. But if you're a G and you have the right percentage of alcohol in your system, you are good. You're not in trouble. So that's that for the driving. I can hear you. Hello? Is your mic on mute? I can hear you. I can't hear you. I still can't hear you. Hello, can you hear me? I can't hear you. But I can't hear you. Mm-mm. Mm. Hello? Let me try it. Hello? I can't hear you. But I can't hear you still. Hello? Hmm. I don't know why I can hear you. Wow. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. It was tough. So I was just trying so many tricks to see if that can come up. So thankfully it did. All right. Because I could still remember that the last live, there was one live that we had that this happened. I
Uh-oh.
could not, I tried severally, but then I could not bring my mic up to for my guests to hear me, and then we just had to end the live abruptly. But then now, yeah, now that we are back now, so let's quickly go to other discussion.
Okay.
Then before we bring it back home again to other things. Now let's discuss about Care Global Consulting. You said you came to assess our service in 2022.
Yeah.
So can you say exactly what service you assessed from Care Global?
Studying abroad. So that was the only thing I did. I applied for through Care Global to study, and then my visa application, everything was done through Care Global.
Okay, so we did placement for her. That is her admission, and then also we did her visa. We submitted her visa for her. We applied for her visa for her. Which province are you currently?
I'm in Ontario.
Okay, so now can you remember how long it took you for you to have your visa? I think it was quite, fast. Yeah.
My mine was really fast.
Yes.
I applied within a we applied a week, and I got it within the week. So yeah, mine was just a
Yes.
time frame.
Yeah, it was less than she got her visa less than 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yes, within 2 weeks. She got her visa less than 2 weeks. So now that was pretty fast. She was one of our a very fast shorter duration of a visa for Canada that we had. She's one of them. Okay, so now how did you see our service? Like, will you recommend us to other people? And then what will you say you love about our service?
Well, I have indeed recommended Care Global to I think about three people. However, I don't know if they followed through with it, and I was so busy I didn't keep track of them. However, what I liked was the detailed process of application. You know, getting us to do the IELTS and the medicals, even though it wasn't requested, just in case, was kind of good, because in the likely case that we needed it and we didn't have it, it could have extended our wait time for our visa, maybe waiting for them to tell us to go and do our medicals and things like that. So I think having things like that was kind of what sped up the process for us, and I really liked that initiative. So that was good.
Okay. Now, okay, that's good. So now, can you also use this platform to recommend us to people that are viewing us? You know,
Okay.
can
Oh,
you use yeah, the platform to recommend us?
yeah. So, to anyone there who is trying to apply to Canada, I would recommend you go through Care Global Consults and look for the school you want. But just like when they're helping you, I would also say you should do your own research, because when you do your research and you know what you want, it also kind of helps them to know how to help you. Because when you don't have research of where you want to go to, or because I remember back then, she asked me, which province did you want to go? And I told her the province. And I think I specifically said Ontario, because she gave me like, you gave me an option of a school in Manitoba. I always remember that school. And then he said, do you want this one? But I specifically said I wanted Ontario. So it helps you to know where you want to go and what you want to do. And I would say you should look at what is working in that region that you want to go to, like in terms of work jobs. What are they doing that I can come study and work comfortably and move on with my life? How is the job situation in this area? How is the living situation in this area? Before you now go ahead and tell them that this is where I want. Because you doing that, you're already helping them and then you're helping yourself. In the likely case that
Yeah,
something wrong, you know that it was kind of you that chose it.
yeah.
As compared to you not knowing where you're going to and just going anywhere. If you go anywhere, whatever you see, you take, honestly. So make your research, then go through Care Global.
Okay, now I know that Ontario is one of the popular province in Canada. So, is there what will you say is good about Ontario? Is there no are there no jobs in Ontario? Like now, where you are now, is it a very good place? Are there jobs there? What do you love the place?
To be fair, this place is not as, if you're coming from somewhere like Abuja or Lagos, this place
Mm,
is highly quiet. It's not as crazy as those places. But
mm,
Toronto, places like Toronto, you have something similar to Lagos. It's very rowdy and it's crazy there.
yeah.
How good thing about this place is, if you are in the engineering sector, if you're in the mining sector, if you are in the nursing field, if you are even doing anything relating to pharmacy, nursing, engineering, mining, construction, things like what do they call them? These mechanics and the rest, they
Okay.
make a lot of money here because that is the demand. However, you still have other jobs that you can get, but between when I came in 2022 and now, I would say the population has grown very fast. So
Mm,
now very, very competitive to get jobs and
yeah.
to get even houses. So it's not the easiest. And I think currently is a kind of like a pandemic in Canada, getting houses and jobs.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to say that. Mm,
Yeah, because even the houses you get, they are too expensive, which was not what I met here. When I met
yeah.
here, first house I got, I was paying 550, and it was inclusive of everything, utilities.
Bills. Mm,
Were about six in the house. However, the main house had four people and then two people in the basement, which was very okay and very not bad at all. It was a complete house. But then between there and changing like to apartments, I had to live in a one bedroom. That wasn't even a one bedroom. It was just like a self con. What's to call self con in Nigeria? That was kind of what we
mm,
had
mm,
here. I had to move in together because I had to leave the other place. They were trying to increase the rent and all that. So
mm.
she alone, she was paying $1,100. Yes, so that was like $1,100, which
Yeah.
was a very vast difference because given the fact that they don't have a room or anything, you
Like
shouldn't. Yeah, it was too
like almost
expensive.
like 50% increase. Like
Yeah,
it doubled. Mm,
exactly. And now even with the place we managed to get now together is much better than that place, and
mm.
the difference between the prices is like 350. Although we are still paying like things like utilities, and funny enough, paying 700 for the house is good now compared to paying, people are paying 1 2 for a single room. People are paying 1 3. It's expensive. 2 bedroom now, people are paying 1 8. When I came, you could see 2 bedroom for 1,000 1 1. So definitely do your, like, whoever is coming to Canada, do your research. That's all I'm going to tell you, because if you don't do your research, you are going to learn while in Canada the hard way. So
The hard way.
yeah, the hard.
Okay, okay, that's actually a beautiful that's actually a beautiful advice. But then I always love to tell clients that even currently in Canada is almost the same thing everywhere. Like the accommodation problem issue is everywhere. That is why even the PAL, that is the provincial attestation letter that they now issue for people going for programs below masters. That is why that provincial attestation letter actually give you a provision for accommodation. So before your arrival, so and that is why they put that in place for them, so that people will not struggle for. Cause it means that you already have an accommodation in place for you. It's been confirmed. Okay, as you are coming in, there's a provision for you to have an accommodation there. So although we know that people, there's high influx of people to all of these places, so you can definitely understand why all of these things are happening. And also, with you talking about the increment in rent, in rent and all of that, in rentage and all of that, that just this week and even yesterday we were talking about this thing. We said in all of these places, even in UK, that even if you're paying £500 a month, because if people pay monthly, I said that is more than a million, more than a million naira that you're paying for rent a year, a month. Unlike here in Nigeria, where you will get maybe a flat for less than that amount, or that amount, or just a bit more than that amount for a year.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and then we're talking about having maybe a studio or a self-contained, and then at times it's even shared a kitchen. So,
yeah.
but then you see, yeah,
The thing I don't like about Canada is the housing system. The toilet system is horrible, because
yeah,
sometimes people in a house sharing 2 toilets. That's very bad and very uncomfortable. But
yeah,
then make do with what you have, right?
yeah, yeah. Hmm? Okay, so okay, that's that about it. The only thing that if you now want to go for maybe places where you can have such luxury or such this into yourself alone, then the prices will be you know higher than what we are already talking about now. That's even high. So and stuff like that. So we definitely know that these things are there. These issues are there, and that is why we also we're just talking about it, that people, you guys are not small people. You guys are millionaires, because people that are going for these ventures are people that actually have the money for it, and then people that yeah, you
Sorry,
understand.
the thing is, I don't know. People have
Mm,
reason of coming abroad, honestly,
mm,
except a politician's child or a business mogul or something, business person
yeah,
father or mother and child rather, is going to
yeah,
be it's going to be really hard for you to be that millionaire yet,
yeah.
because as long as you have monthly utilities and rent to
Mm,
pay, it's going to be very hard, because the quality of jobs that are available to international students, sadly, but not in all cases, there's always room for
mm,
exception. Not in all cases, the quality of jobs that are there are mostly like
mm,
either your cleaning jobs or You can work in the mine if you have experience, which gives you
Yeah.
that edge over others. You can do, guys have it easier when it comes to construction and all those other things because it's heavy lifting. And although here both guys and girls, they're doing almost similar jobs, but still you can tell that there are some jobs that guys can do conveniently than women, and that's just the truth. So when it comes to jobs, you get jobs that get you paying about, because here in Canada they pay us bi-weekly, which means every 2 weeks you get paid your salary or
Mm.
your um, job fee, whatever you want to call it. And if
Mm.
you're a job that, I think they just increased the minimum wage last year to about $16.50. Yeah. So
Wow.
likely case you're getting a $16.50 job, you're going to be getting about 1.2 to 1.3.
Monthly.
And out of that, if you're paying rent of 700, you've already used half of your money to pay rent,
Yeah.
or you
Mm.
other things. And if you're in a house where utilities are outside your rent, you still get to pay Wi-Fi bill. You still get to pay hydro, that's your lights, and in some cases water bill. Then before you now get whatever is left money, and you still have to get food, you still have to get your groceries, your supplies. By the time you calculate it, you might not be left with much, and it's sadder for international students because we don't have a lot of hours to work. So sometimes it's so funny when people say we're millionaires. As long as you have, as
Mm.
long as you have
The-
monthly bills, you are not a millionaire yet, and you pay
no,
phone.
from what you have already spent and what
Mm,
you're still spending, if you calculate it in a year, you will know, you will understand where I'm coming from. You know that you've already spent millions, for your fees alone, just for your tuition fees alone. Then with
but
these ones adding up,
exactly,
so
I
that
agree.
makes you a millionaire.
Doesn't make you a millionaire. What makes you a millionaire is what you have to take back home. If you have only $100 or $150 at the end of the day, you're poor because you need money to survive in this country. So, but that's the truth.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let me take your answer for that. So you are coming from the angle of the reserve, whereas
Mm.
I'm coming from the angle of what has been spent. So we are both correct. So so I don't see my client as less. So I still see people that, the way I've said it. So and I understand practically. So you're just trying to be practical, whereas I'm also trying to be practical from the other side. So and that we are still both correct, and we are still both right. So now let's move to the other thing. So Jennifer, I would love you to use this platform to recommend Care Global Consulting to our viewers, both those watching us and those that will watch this live.
Okay. If you're out there and you're trying to get an admission, you should go to Care Global because they are detailed, and you are likely, I'm not saying 100%, but you have a high percentage of getting your visa and your study permit. So yeah, you can go through Care Global.
All right, thank you for that. Now let's go to the next question. Were you able to talk the other time on what you love about Nigeria?
Oh yeah, I did. I spoke about it.
Okay, so now if you have to fix anything about Nigeria, what would that be?
I would say, first of all, unity, because funny as it seems, even after leaving Nigeria, you can still tell we still have a unity problem. Even abroad in diaspora, most of us are still
Mm.
struggling to be kind to each other, to give ourselves job information. We're still struggling with that. You see us hoarding information. You see a lot of Nigerians being mean. Even sometimes you can that this is a black person, you're not sure if the person is a Nigerian. Even as little as waving at the person on the bus, they just take away their face, like little things like that. It doesn't make any sense. In
Yeah.
the run of things, whether you like it or not, this is not your country. It's another man's country, and you bet you have a better chance sticking with somebody who who is like you. Because if you take, for instance, other nationalities, especially like the Asians, they are thriving not because they are the best, no, because they are unified. The more they work together, the higher
Mm.
they. In my city, Sudbury, currently, the small businesses, the chain of small businesses they have, keep on growing every single year, every single month. Meanwhile, we Nigerians were too busy being fighting to make sure that I don't even know what we're fighting about, things that don't make any head. And these people are thriving and growing, and they are bringing their people and helping their people, which is
Yeah.
helping community. Meanwhile, we're still where we are, and no doubt Nigerians are the most hardworking and very, like, they can hustle for themselves. That's just the truth about it. But the fact that we keep being ununified or keep struggling with trivial things, tribalism and things like that, it keeps dragging us back. And the earlier we realize that we have to stick out for each other, the
Each
better for.
other. Yeah. So what do you think is causing that? What do you think is causing that?
Uh, a, a high percentage of greed and selfishness, honestly. Because if you have left your country that you were suffering and come to another man's land, and you're still
Yeah.
thinking person should not have, I cannot help this person, I cannot give this person information because maybe they'll be bigger than me, or because I suffered and they have to suffer, that kind of funny mentality is a,
Mentality. Wrong mentality.
is
Mm.
a high level of greed and selfishness. Because what are you doing, what is the information going to do for you? Whether or not they are going to hire the person is not necessarily, although in Canada, to be honest, you have a higher chance of getting a job if you are referred, and that's the truth about it. It's not only in
Mm.
Nigeria it works. Referral works here very well. But
Mm.
in other, in things being equal, you still, you helping the person, giving the person information doesn't necessarily stop the person from being hired or not. Because if the person still hires online to that job and they are meant for that position, whether you like it or not, they will still be given the position, whether you help them or you don't help them.
Mm.
I just feel things like that, we're wasting our own time doing all this no unit. And I honestly, I think for now, if I'm being honest, and please permit me to say this, I feel like for now Nigerians were still being tribalistic and doing all these things because we still
Okay.
have a choice. God forbid,
Mm.
God forbid, in the likely case that we become discriminated or something in other countries, like we are already seeing it happen in the UK, and maybe, God forbid, they chase us out of their country, then we realize that there is a need for us to stick together. Because
Yeah.
choice that we can fly out and go to another country and we'll be fine. Unless unless something like that, because Nigerians always need a push. Unless something like that happens, that's when we'll now open our eyes and realize that nobody cares for us the way we can care for ourselves. Because
Yeah.
land, whether I like it or not, is their land. And you can get good opportunities, you work hard for it, but the truth about the matter is most of them don't even have to work hard to get that opportunity you get. So what do you stand to lose by helping somebody else? Except the person
Nothing.
except the person has a bad behavior and has the potential to put you in trouble. Then you can stay clear and be like, okay, this, I rather not help than he puts me in trouble. But
Mm.
if person is not going, you still just give people a chance. Just give people a chance because it's already hard coming to another country. Having to struggle unnecessarily doesn't help.
It doesn't help. You know, I love what we just discussed about, because really they are not being able to help people from your country or others other black people around you. It doesn't really make any sense, because if you help them now, they'll be appreciative. Now you feel fulfilled helping somebody else. And then there's this kind of a fulfillment and happiness that comes with you being able to help somebody to succeed in one way or the other. So then, and if you don't help them, you don't gain anything by not helping somebody else. So I just believe that maybe is like we say, they don't have that is it compassion or empathy, having been, being empathetic to your fellow, not even your fellow Africans or people from your country alone, but even other people. If you have the empathy towards people, just like our religion preaches, then everything should be able to go well, isn't it? So, and then I think it's also boils down to lack of understanding, at times, because these things are not something that we should be told for before we even know that we're supposed to be able to. Yes, it's not something that we should be told before we know that, okay, we are supposed to be able to help each other, lend a helping hand to one
Honestly,
another. Unless if you know that somebody is going to put you into trouble, like you said earlier, or somebody has a questionable character or a questionable behavior, you might want to stay clear of somebody. If not, why not help? Be ready to help others.
honestly, you
Hmm.
don't even know that most Asians that come here don't even know themselves before they came here. They've never,
Yeah.
never they probably even stay like miles away. But the only thing they have to do is to speak their language, and they are willing to help.
Hmm.
So
We hope that the Nigerian community will will become better and start imbibing the culture of unism, unity, empathy towards each other, because that is just the way forward. For any progress to happen meaningfully in any place, that has to be also part of it. Um, so now, Jenny, is there anything you're currently doing in Canada? Maybe any service you're currently rendering? You're a businesswoman, a big one at that. And I still remember your banana bread that I ate in Nigeria. That banana bread is very sweet, you know. So, because I know some of the things you do here that are very, very beautiful things that you do. So, and do you still bake? And where you are now, or is there any other service you're renting there that you want people to patronize you for?
So in Nigeria, I was a baker, a makeup artist, and a nail tech. However, coming to Canada is much different. I can't just practice these things. I have to get my licenses. So currently, what I do is I just bake for my friends. Yeah, because they like my cakes. When they try it, they just like it and they come to me and I make it for them. But in the context of business, I can't practice my business here yet until I get the required licenses or I get in trouble because
License.
here you have to, especially for cooking, you have to have your they have to do like a cleanliness assessment of the place you're cooking, whether it's clean enough, whether it has the
Mhm.
ants, whether your food is even edible. They have to test it at the lab and see whether what you're giving people is okay. Unlike Nigeria, that anything goes. You have to see that
Yes.
handling your food well. Although I do have like a food handler certificate, and very soon I'm going to get a smart serve, which will allow me to either work in anywhere they're serving drinks or anywhere they're cooking food. So I think very soon, hopefully, all things being equal and by God's grace, I will
Yeah.
be able to open my businesses in the future.
Yeah.
So, but now
Okay.
I'm just focusing on school until I'm
All
done.
right. All right. So we look forward to that. So hopefully, opening your businesses and all of that. This do you still have somebody that does these things for you in Nigeria? Like, I know that you have a business, registered business that does all of these things, catering. Is it catering or the, like you
Yeah.
said now, baking? Like now, if somebody wants to see order that banana bread, because I could remember that, you know, somebody, I think my brother-in-law ate that banana bread and he was like, "Can you help me order more?" That time. So, and I'm like, the person that is doing it has left Nigeria. She's now in Canada. So do you have somebody in Nigeria that see you help you do that?
Unfortunately, at the time I was in Nigeria, I wasn't able to establish business properly, even though it's registered.
Mm,
I wasn't able to have
mm,
to do it. But who knows? Maybe in the years to come, I might be able to train someone and have someone do that for me.
yeah. Okay. So that's good. All right. So now let's go to the last thing, which is the closing remark. So no, not the closing. We have one more beautiful question that we need to talk about.
Hmm?
Is totally different from all of these discussions. So it's actually about relationships, responsibility, majorly about responsibility. So and I just want to have a view of my guests. So what will you rather have, like, in terms of a family setting? Should it be the man taking full responsibility of the family, taking care of the wife, or should it be the other way around? Like, okay, the wife, taking full responsibility, taking care of their husband, whereby maybe the wife is the sole provider, the wife should provide everything. Because there are some homes like that maybe the man doesn't want to do anything, it's just the woman that is providing. And then whereas there are some homes that, okay, it's the man that is providing, which, well, let me not say what I want to say because the question is for you. Or should it be 50-50, 50 shared responsibility between a man and a woman in a home?
Well, if I'm being honest, I don't know if I'm in the right position to say this because me
No,
myself.
in terms of relationship, not marriage,
Well,
relationship. Mm,
well, I still say that because for me, I'm going to approach it from like a religious point of view. Whereas somebody might not want to approach it from that way, they might want to approach it from like a secular point of view. Or from my point
mm,
of view, I believe that a man should be a provider and the woman should be a helper. Now it
yeah.
depends on what of you agree on. For some people, a man being a provider means maybe him taking most of the bills, paying, and then the woman is paying the lesser bill, and they're okay. So, in my opinion, it depends on what both of you believe in and what works for you people. I wouldn't say I have experience a lot of experience in that situation, but
Mm,
based on the two people involved, because if we're being honest, a lot of people, we keep on having this issue of 50-50. But as a Christian and as what we've been taught, like by the Bible, what does the Bible
yeah.
say? know? It says that the man should provide and then the woman should help. But if we turn it around, it means we're not following the Bible and it's secular. And that is fine for some people. That want. But me, I that is what I believe. I believe on what the Bible says. So
Mm.
I have it different. I'll always try to be a helper as much as I can. But I can't turn around and be a provider. That's not what my Bible says.
I love your analysis. So, and I love that biblical injunction or biblical view of the whole thing, which I also believe in, and then I believe that is what should be. Okay, so thank you for that your perspective. Now, this leads me to this kind of private, very private question: Are you married or single? Single or
I'm
married?
married. Yet.
Okay.
I hope to be married, but I'm not married.
She's not married yet. A very, very enterprising, gorgeous lady, you know, and ready to be a helper. So you can imagine. So any oil baron, in case any oil baron is watching now. So I normally, you know, so good to have you, Jennifer. This is a very, very insightful, you know, discussion and their life, especially with regards to the issue of driving in Canada and all of that. Beautiful, beautiful discussion there. Thank
Yeah.
you for coming on this live. Will you want to give a shout out to your family, your friends, and how is Blessing? I've not asked of her.
Very well. She's doing well.
That's my other one of my other clients
Yeah,
in Canada, in her school.
doing very well.
Okay, she's doing very well. Yeah, I guess definitely.
Yeah, she's
All
well.
right. So will you want to give a shout out to your family, your friends, your colleagues there in Canada as well?
Unfortunately, I don't have family in Canada, but I, I
Family
guess
at home in Nigeria,
my,
across the globe.
yeah, my family is at home in Nigeria, just in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So
So give a shout out to them.
okay, well, shout out to my brothers Raymond and Michael, and my sister Jessica, my parents. I love you guys, and I hope you guys are watching this, so you get to watch it eventually. But yeah. Thank you. And shout out to you, Madam Ozi, for having me on this live. Thank you so much for having me on this live. I hope this discussion helped somebody or has given somebody a lot of information enough to take the bold step to come to Canada.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you, Jennifer. The pleasure is mine. And I'll definitely, you can definitely rewatch the live, on our pages and our YouTube, Facebook. And then definitely they should get to watch this, you should share the link with them. All right. So from here, we've come to the end of this discussion and this live. So thank you, Jenny, for finding time to be my guest on this live. So I very much appreciate you guys. I very much appreciate you. So do have a lovely day from here, all right? So from me and from Jennifer. So it's a bye from me. So see you later.